Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Most people who have studied Sufism know a little bit about Rumi, have heard of Rumi, have read some of Rumi's poems, translated, of course, into English, unless you're Turkish. Then they were translated into Turkish because they were originally in Persian. But not everybody knows that Rumi found his way through a man whose name was Shams. And Shams came from Afghanistan specifically to teach Rumi. And in the Dargah, the place where Shams was, the Dargah was the place of the meeting of the Sufis, he was told that there was a great light that needed to be enflamed, and that he could do it, but that he would die in the process. And he said he would go. And then he went, and then there was the meeting between Rumi and Shams. And Shams began to teach Rumi the way of Sufism. And a very strong relationship developed between these two men. A bonding, a loyalty, a love for each other, a comradery towards each other. And Shams told Rumi one time, he said, if everything was taken away from us, if the Quran was taken away from us, if the Kaaba was taken away from us, if all of the tales were taken away from us, what's left is the love between men. And it's in that love between men that we can find the truth. And this is a very important point, because we have the Quran and we have the Kaaba. But with those things, one of the things we're sometimes lacking is this love between men. The respect people should have for each other. The dignity that people should allow to each other. The kindness that people should give to each other. And the fact that we should protect each other. It's our responsibility when something goes wrong with someone, not to run around telling people what went wrong, but to try and help them correct it. We're here to soothe, not to irritate. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was in Medina, and they were having trouble with the people from Mecca, someone came up to him and said, pray that all the Meccans die. And he said, I did not come into this world as a curse. I came here as a blessing and a mercy. So, who are we? And what's our place in this world? Are we mercy? Are we blessings? Or are we curses? And quite simply, if you follow your own speech, and if you follow your own actions, And if you follow your own interactions, you can quickly determine where you are. What's your reactions to other people? When people do something inappropriate, are you the first there to scold them? Or can you turn away from them as if it didn't happen and come back to them with kindness? Can you hide others' faults? Can you be like the darkness that doesn't allow things to be seen? Personal behavior and personal interaction with people is of the utmost importance on this path. Do we love other people? Pretty simple question. Do we love other people? Or do we barely abide other people? Are we able to give of ourselves in aid to others, or is everything focused in us and we don't have enough time for others? We have to do an assessment of our being, and in that assessment we have to begin to put into play time for helping others. Outreach towards people who need help is doing Allah's work, and pulling back from those who need help and not helping is the opposite. It's not being involved in the need of society. God gives, Allah gives constantly. He doesn't stop giving. And He gives from a cornucopia of abundance. There is no diminishing His abundance. Now, what people need to tap into is that if they do God's work and they give gifts through God, there is a cornucopia of abundance that feeds them so that they can continue to give, and gives them what they give so they can continue to give. If you show kindness to others, kindness will come to you. If you show mercy to others, mercy will come to you. If you show compassion to others, compassion will come to you. If you show love to others, love will come to you. And when it comes to you, it comes because it goes through you. In other words, you don't try to hold on to it. You let it go through you. Now, the only way to be able to participate in mercy and compassion, kindness and love, is to allow it to go through you. Because hoarding love is the opposite of love. It isn't real, it's imaginary. Hoarding mercy is the opposite of mercy. It's not real. So we have to understand that to be involved as one who Allah's power flows through, we have to give away what Allah is giving to us. So if Allah has been merciful to you, to continue to get that mercy, you have to give mercy to others. If Allah has been kind to you, compassionate to you, loving to you, you have to give all those things away so that they can continue to come through you. And imagine, in this entire world, of all the gifts that exist in creation, what is greater than having Allah send His qualities through you? because you are able to participate in Allah as that happens, because Allah is mercy. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate. Mercy is His name. Compassion is His name. Compassion is His being. And as we emit mercy, it's because it comes through us from Him, and we get to share in Him. And all the prayers and all the pilgrimages and all the fasting won't overcome the fact that you don't like people, won't overcome the fact that you don't get involved with other people and aid and assist. I remember very clearly that Bawa once said, if you can't fast from your anger, Allah does not need you to fast from food. Now, that is a real understanding. What's the purpose of fasting during this Ramadan? The purpose of fasting is to become closer to understanding need, to come closer to understanding hunger, to come closer to understanding thirst, so that when you see it, you recognize it, and you actually know it, so you want to do something about it because you felt it. When we don't feel things ourselves, it's very difficult to be empathetic. What does empathetic mean? It means you actually feel what's going on in somebody else. So we need to become soft enough so that the difficulties of others touch us, affect us, make us act on the behalf of those that need to be acted on. And we need to be able to do this without being asked. We need to get to the point where we can see difficulty, and we can see stress, and we can see uncomfortable situations and come to their aid. Now, we all have limited capacities for doing this, and we have to be able to act within our capacity. We can't do more than our capacity, but our capacity grows. A sheikh is an amazing example of capacity, and of one-pointed capacity, and of one-pointed determination to help. We sat with Bawa, and what did Bawa do? I mean, why did people go there? What did he do? He reassured people. He comforted people. He told people everything would be okay. He told people how to change what they were doing to make their lives easier for themselves. He showed people how to be in balance in existence so that all the trauma that they were going through would leave them. Everybody in this world is traumatized. Nobody ain't traumatized. The world is full of trauma. If you go into somebody and really know their history, you'll see their difficulties. How does one overcome those difficulties? Well, you can't do away with what happened in the past, but you can change your attitude about the present, and you can find comfort in the fact that Allah can comfort you. You can find comfort in the fact that you have friends who are interested in your well-being, You can find comfort in the fact that you know people who love. My wife always says, wherever the lovers are, that's where I want to be. And that's what we need to do. We need to find a group that loves. And we need to get into that group and love. Loving is the great medicine for this existence. And Sufism is known as the path of love. So what's the point? The point is, love will cure your ills. Love will do away with sadness. Love will overcome trauma. Love will make you peaceful. Love will put you straight. The ability to love changes everything. There's a great song that U2 did with B.B. King. It's called When Love Came to Town. And if you haven't heard it, you should. He goes through all the things he did, and he apologizes. And then he says, but that was before love came to town. And that's the point. When love comes to town, everything changes. You become different. And you won't know how different you'll be until love comes to town. Because you can't be what you haven't experienced. You are what you experience. Now, you're more than that, but you're not conscious of that. So to become conscious of that, you have to become more. And the way to become more is to love. Love is the path that will take you to your own enlightenment. So even though you love for the sake of others, you love for the sake of yourself. Because as you love more, you become more Allah-like. You become more in the flow of Haq reality. And as we do that, then our face lightens up, our eyes lighten up, we begin to sparkle and take on the aspect of a 16-year-old. This is what rejuvenates people. This is what makes people young. This is what brings people into the essence of true existence. Without love, life is trauma. Without love, life is difficult. Without love, there is no peace. Yesterday, I was in a situation where I was with somebody sitting in front of the computer, and on the computer were pictures running one after the other, after the other, after the other, of babies. Not just human babies, but kittens and puppies and cubs and all of these things. And there's this amazing innocence and calmness when you watch these kinds of pictures. It kind of alters you a little bit. And I said to her, you know, the innocence that we're looking at is still within each and every one of us. It's just we've forgotten it. And somehow we have to get back in touch with it. And if it takes looking at pictures of babies and pictures of puppies and pictures of kittens, do that. But do something that reminds you of your own innocence. Because in your innocence, love was very easy. It's when we become too worldly and too knowing and too powerful that love begins to fade away, and love becomes very, very difficult because other things replace it. The desire for things replaces love. The desire for fame replaces love. The desire for wealth replaces love. The desire for lust and fulfillment of lust replaces love. Love is a very genteel, delicate matter. And for us to be able to abide within love, we have to become very genteel and delicate. Imagine the Sheikh. What was more genteel and delicate than the Sheikh? So we have to take on that example, and we have to understand that there is enormous strength in kindness. There's enormous strength in gentility. There's enormous strength in softness, because it's an active choice to be soft. It's so much easier to be hard. It's so much easier to be difficult. It's so much easier to be right than not to get involved in the argument. We have to be able to see things from that perspective. We have to be able to see things from that point of view. And as we are able to do that, life becomes easier, because we get a direct connection to that which is reality. We get a direct connection to that which created the universe. The world was created out of love. If we want to be part of understanding what caused that creation, we have to understand love. This time of Ramadan is considered a blessed and holy time. Why? Because we are less connected to the world during this time than any other time. We, on purpose, break our connections to a lot of the ordinary things that we do every day. And in that, we begin to understand more and more about ourselves. And we begin to understand more and more about the difficulties of the world. We need to be in the place where we can feel other people's hunger. We need to be in the place where we understand other people's trauma. And we need to become a salve for that trauma. We need to be the ones who assist. We need to be the ones who have come into this world as a mercy. May Allah make it so for each of us. May He make us understand the gifts that He gives us on a daily, consistent basis, and may we understand that we need to give those gifts to all of those who come into